What's up guys, we're back and it's time to see how the latest Pixel 6 Pro stacks up against the iPhone 13 Pro Max in this early comparison. These are the only two brands in the smartphone world where they have their own chip running on their own software. Looking at the value/pricing, Google completely dominates the whole iPhone 13 series. The base Pixel 6 is competing against the iPhone 13 and it's about $200 cheaper, and same thing with the Pixel 6 Pro, which is competing against the iPhone 13 Pro Max, and that too is $200 cheaper. The new Pixel 6 series may just be the best value flagships right now that you can buy. For the base Pixel 6 against the iPhone 13, I don't think it's even a comparison in my book. While being $200 cheaper, it offers a higher refresh rate, a super res zoom, same main camera as the Pro model, and a huge battery. But for the Pixel 6 Pro model competing against the iPhone 13 Pro Max, there are some things to be considered. Let's begin with the design. As I said in my comparison with the S21 Ultra, Google has succeeded in creating a unique look for their phone, but at the same time they kind of missed the mark because there's no matte finish variant, so you're pretty much stuck with glossy backs. Now the thing with glossy backs is that you have to deal with the fingerprints all the time, whereas the iPhone 13 Pro Max brings a matte finish and it's fingerprint free and much cleaner. I do appreciate the fact that the Pixel 6 Pro is slimmer and lighter to hold in hand compared to the iPhone 13 Pro Max, but it's also at the same time super slippery. Like, this is the only phone this year that I cannot recommend you to use without a case protection. The 13 Pro Max is a big heavy boy with boxy design that actually gives this phone a pretty good grip when you're holding it. When it comes to the front design, the Pixel definitely wins. The hole punch is always better than the notch. Speaking of the front design, the display on both of these two phones are ridiculously good. We've got 120Hz variable refresh rate OLED panels, beautiful bright colors, and incredible detail. You can't go wrong with either one of these phones. The Pixel 6 Pro relies on a 3D under-display fingerprint scanner which allows a cleaner design, whereas Apple is sticking to the Face ID, which is why we have the notch. I'm actually fine with both of these two authentication methods, so you're getting top-notch security on both phones. Well, by the way, both phones have IP68 water and dust resistant rating. Now, just like Apple, Google will not be giving you a free charger out of the box, but the Pixel 6 Pro is actually offering a faster wired charging than the iPhone 13 Pro. It's coming at 30 watts compared to the 20 watt that you get on the 13 Pro series. It also beats the iPhone when it comes to wireless charging speeds, which is coming at 23 watt versus Apple's 15 watt. It's kind of weird because normally we don't see Pixel devices beating other big brands when it comes to fast charging or battery sizes or screen brightness, but things are different this time around. But what about the performance? The custom Google Tensor chip takes on the Apple A15, and let's just say the A15 is definitely the strongest chip by a mile. Apple is just untouchable in terms of power and number, but in real life usage wise, the Tensor feels just as optimized. Like, for the first time I can say that a Pixel phone is eye to eye with a flagship iPhone in terms of smoothness of the UI. Everything feels super polished. Because both of these two phones have their custom hardware, the battery performance on both phones is actually incredible. I haven't tested the Pixel 6 Pro in super detail yet. We'll be doing a battery drain test later. I feel like this is the only flagship phone that has the chance to level with Apple when it comes to the battery performance. The iPhone 13 Pro Max will give you the best battery life on any 120Hz display smartphone out right now, even more than my Galaxy S21 Ultra. It is crazy. So we'll be testing these phones out battery wise soon, but based on the current users, the Pixel is doing really good. Now, software wise, we've got Android 12 versus iOS 15. So Android versus iOS, there's a huge debate. They both go back and forth. They've gotten very similar over time, but some base level differences are still there. Like with Android, you still get loads of customization and of course the brand new Material You theme engine. While iOS, on the other hand, it's super optimized to work with Apple devices. It's got an edge over Android devices when it comes to third-party optimization with Instagram and Snapchat, and yes, even over the Google Pixel 6 Pro. So I really hope that these apps get some optimization update for the Pixel 6 Pro now that Google has its own custom Tensor chip. Like, just to give you an example, the Instagram camera utilizes not only the ultra wide and zoom lens, but also the macro mode on the iPhone 13 series within the application it's pretty amazing. This may or may not matter to a lot of people, but overall, I will say both operating systems are very close and they have their own strong points. Now, even though Google has got their own chip running on their own software, they cannot promise you the same level of long-term software support as Apple, which at this point is 6 years. Yes, the 6-year-old iPhone 6s that came out in 2015, the same year where we saw the original Pixel phone. The 6s still runs the latest iOS 15. With the current hardware that we have on the iPhone 13 series, they might even go beyond 6 years when it comes to the major software upgrades, whereas Google is only promising 3 years of major updates and then 2 years of security updates. I will say 3 years is pretty decent for most people to upgrade, but again, it's not something that's gonna match Apple level of long-term support. Now let's talk about the camera. We've got 3 cameras on both phones. That 50 megapixel lens brings the pixel color science along with incredible detail. Disclaimer, this is not a camera test video, but you shouldn't really be concerned about the main camera performance because they're gonna be really good either way. But where the Pixel definitely takes the edge is the zoom. Yes, the Pixel has a 4x optical zoom, whereas the iPhone has got 3x optical zoom. You may be thinking that's not much of a difference, but you'll actually be surprised to see Google's super zoom performance that goes up to 20 times. Like I said, this is not a camera test, but the zoom on Pixel will surprise a lot of people. Both phones are offering 12 megapixel when it comes to their ultra-wide angle sensors. As for the video, the Pixel 6 Pro definitely closes the gap, but I still say the iPhone has its place strongly as the #1 video smartphone. Plus, the iPhone 13 Pro Max and the other iPhone 13 lineup phones can do 4K 60 FPS on all lenses, including the front camera, which is something Pixel cannot do. Its 4K 60 FPS is only limited to the main lens. Plus, Apple is giving you something that no other brand is giving, which is the ProRes RAW video performance, which is an even next level pro grade video feature. So video wise, iPhone is still in its own league, but compared to the previous Pixel phones, Google has closed the gap massively. All in all, I have to say that Google has done an incredible effort making this comeback with the Pixel 6 Pro in the flagship game. They don't have to beat the best iPhone or the best Samsung out there. All they have to do is to make their phone just as good as those phones, and I think they have been very successful in doing that, while at the same time being $200 cheaper, which is super impressive. While there are some small things that are still better on the iPhone 13 Pro that may matter to some people when it comes to the overall experience, Google is still bringing quite a lot for the price. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. With that being said, I'll see you guys later. Peace out.